Just a quick video response, rather more of a clarification of my own position. Response to Heitla Day, by the way. Thank you for your response to my video. I often mention where my epistemology begins, and it begins with the cogito. I think, therefore I am. That's a mistranslation of the original Latin. Cogito is... it combines subject and predicate. So does sum, by the way. Cogito has the word I and think in the same word. It's there's no way to break it down into subject and predicate. So it doesn't say, in the strict linguistic sense of the term, I. I can be a very misleading term, and I think that it's one of those interesting one-letter words that can sort of throw you off from the very beginning because it's unclear as to what you mean. When I use the term I, say, look, you can't even talk about it without using it. My use of the term I refers not to me, as the ugly face you see here in the computer screen. It refers to that which perceives that which is perceived. Whatever perceives that which is perceived is the I. You could use the term we. I'm not a panpsychist or anything like that, but if you were, you could use some other term to describe the I. Whatever, but it's whatever it is that has experiences. Whatever it is that experiences qualia, or I guess qualia is an experience, so that's kind of a tautology, but whatever is on the receiving end of an experience is an I. So probably a better way to look at it would be the third word of that, sum, which is I am. Sum, again, is Latin, and it doesn't translate into I am. It translates into whatever is speaking is. If you were sort of on the receiving end, if someone was saying sum to you, then you would be hearing that person say, whatever you see is what I am, or is what is. Hard to explain, very hard to explain. Especially when the definition that I've given for sum is kind of misleading, because, again, from my own epistemological point of view, I can't prove that anyone else exists. Not that I'm interested in doing that, and I think that anyone who does exist doesn't really need me to point that out to them. But this whole business of the I, and whether or not it exists, is so problematic that one almost ends up in a state of ontological non-cognitivism when you start to get into it, because the cogito sort of says that I think, therefore I am, before you even examine the idea of what existence means. It's like whatever existence means to us exists. So be careful with that. Be careful with the cogito. I often refer to the Upanishads, the ancient Hindu metaphysical speculations. That, it's sort of, what is the hearer of that which is heard? What is the seer of that which is seen? What is the knower of that which is known? You can describe something, like you can describe, say, the seer of that which is seen. You can look at my eye, you can dissect it or whatever, and explain from the outside what is going on and what kind of a picture that will paint. But that turns into an experience at some point along the way. And, part of the hard question, or our hard problem of consciousness, we don't know what experience is, or we don't know how what is on the outside gets translated into an experience in here or whatever, wherever the experience takes place. Some people will say that we have solved it or we will solve it or whatever, but the only explanations I've ever heard of anyone trying to sort out the hard problem of consciousness are based on faith. They just say, this is the most likely explanation. Even that is incomplete because it's the most likely explanation of whatever explanations we have out there, which may be all completely wrong. That doesn't make our most likely explanation any more likely than, the Bible or something. So I would be careful with sort of saying that the cogito is wrong or a mistake or my use of it is such, because you got to really be careful with what the cogito implies. The cogito implies that something is having perceptions. Something is having experiences. I just call that the I for the sake of linguistic convenience. And the I is also that which has desires. Never mind what the reason for individual desires might be. Like, say, if you subscribe to the idea of the will to life and you believe, as you apparently do, don't let me straw man you here, Hythloday. But apparently you seem to hold that evolution is motivated by the will to life. Okay, I don't share that view. I don't think that survival is any kind of an accomplishment. I will, of course, run if somebody pulls out a gun and starts shooting at me, or I'll act in some other way to prevent him from killing me. But I don't see that the entire purpose of my existence is to avoid dying. I don't see that at all. I see my purpose for existence is to be most truly what I am. But let's just say, for example, that we do agree, or we do sort of, for the sake of argument, say that the will to life is all that there is to motivate us. Even that will not do when we're trying to deconstruct what desire actually is. You can say that, I am pre-programmed to sort of not want to be hungry. And my hunger response in the chemistry of my body is meant to motivate me to go get something to eat because my ultimate aim is to stay alive. That's all very well, and it may even be true. Let's say that we do accept the idea that the will to life is everything. Okay. But that still doesn't tell you what desire actually is. Not the desire to eat. Desire in and of itself. What is desire? That's not an easy thing to define, is it? And, the Eastern faiths or philosophies or whatever tend to put desire at the very center of absolutely everything. Nietzsche and Schopenhauer seem to do this as well. Schopenhauer seems to think that our only motivation is existence, the will to live. Nietzsche says it's power. I say that those are just two of any, possibly an infinite number of desires out there that essentially keep the universe in existence, keep the universe going, keep the wheel of existence turning type thing. A lot of people think I'm a Nietzschean, but I don't see myself as that at all. I just find his views convincing, but not complete. I'll put it that way. I think everybody sees most philosophers that way, to be perfectly honest. I don't think I'm the only one like that. So, desire in and of itself. Now, that's an interesting thing. And desire and the I, or desire and the I am, or the sum, or whatever, and the cogito. I guess I'd call it desire and the cogito. One could easily say, I want, therefore I am. Because desire is an active thing. You're looking out into that which is, into existence itself. You're looking for things. You desire. You are searching type thing. Someone can sort of program you to search for certain things, but the act of searching is not so easily done. You can't, it's like the old idea of creating life. You can replicate all the conditions, but it doesn't have the spark of life in it. Desire, you can sort of make somebody look as though they want something, but it doesn't mean that they actually want it. They may want something else. They may want simply the satisfaction of their desire. And they see, in the case of hunger, they see food as the satisfaction of desire. Now, of course, that doesn't extinguish desire. Finding food does not extinguish desire. It just palliates the desire for food, which will reappear again. And desire itself, I wonder how you might palliate, or you might sort of eliminate that. Now, I think that's what Schopenhauer and the Buddha sort of said. You want to get into such a zone that no more desires bother you. You're not troubled by any desires for anything, even the desire to stay alive. Possibly, I suppose, but it doesn't really answer the fact that a lot of people do things that are very uncomfortable and very dangerous, and they want to do them anyway. They're fully aware of how dangerous and how painful they are. So I would be careful with that. I would be careful with the I, and I would be careful with the whole idea of desire versus individual desires. We're talking about determinism here, and hard determinism says everything is a reaction to what happened before. We have no choice in anything. We are simply programmed, and we're moving forward simply as a function of what has happened before us, behind us. But desire is sort of a searchlight into the unknown of the future. Desire doesn't work in a hard deterministic matrix. And again, be careful here. I'm not saying what you desire, or the nature of the desire, or the specific desire. I'm saying desire in and of itself cannot be seen as a function of a hard deterministic conception of the universe. Because a hard deterministic conception of the universe says that everything is a reaction. Everything is a reaction to what happened in my past. Desire, almost unique, is not a reaction. I may desire food as a reaction to my past, which means that I didn't have food for the last 24 hours. Therefore, I'm going to desire food now. Yes, but desire in and of itself doesn't operate like that. Desire is something that operates on a completely different level than even a hard deterministic mechanical conception of the universe. Arguably, of course, some people could say, I suppose, that desire doesn't exist. Now that is an argument I'd be interested in hearing.